Okay. Um, we are going to be getting into book 2 of the Iliad. Um, this is my third time re-recording. I had to redo this twice because I ended up getting upset with myself, frustrated over my stumbling across the words and saying some choice words. So let's try this again. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Book 2. Zeus sends a lying dream to Agamemnon, who thereon calls the chiefs in assembly and proposes to sound the mind of his army. In the end, they march to fight. Catalog of the Aegean and Trojan forces. Now the other gods and the armed warriors on the plain slept soundly, but Zeus was wakeful, for he was thinking how to do honor to Achilles and destroy much people at the ships of the Achaeans. In the end, he deemed it would be best to send a lying dream to King Agamemnon. So he called one to him and said to it, my bad. Lying dream. Go to the ships of the Achaeans, into the tent of Agamemnon, and say to him, word for word, as I now bid you. Tell him to get the Achaeans instantly under arms, for he shall take Troy. There are no longer divided counsels among the gods. Hera has brought them to her own mind, and woe betides the Trojans. The dream went when it heard the message, and soon reached the ships of the Achaeans. It sought Agamemnon, son of Atreus, and found him in his tent, wrapped in a profound slumber. It hovered over his head in the likeness of Nestor, son of Neleus, whom Agamemnon honored above all his counselors, and said, You are sleeping, son of Atreus, one who has the welfare of his host, and so much other care upon his shoulders, should dock his sleep. Hear me at once, for I come as a messenger from Zeus, who, though he be not near, yet takes thought for you and pities you. He bids you get the Achaeans instantly under arms, for you shall take Troy. There are no longer divided counsels among the gods. Hera has brought them over to her own mind. And woe betides the Trojans at the hands of Zeus. Remember this, and when you wake, see that it does not escape you. The dream then left him, and he thought of things that were surely not to be accomplished. He thought that on that same day he was to take the city of Priam, but he little knew what was in the mind of Zeus, who had many another hard-fought fight in store alike for Danaans and Trojans. When presently he woke, with the divine message still ringing in his ears, so he sat upright, and put on his soft shirt, so fair and new, and over this his heavy cloak. He bound his sandals onto his comely feet, and slung his silver-studded sword about his shoulders. Then he took the imperishable staff of his father, and sallied forth to the ships of the Achaeans. The goddess Dawn now wended her way to vast Olympus, that she might herald day to Zeus and to the other immortals, and Agamemnon sent the criers round to call the people in assembly. So they called them, and the people gathered thereon. But first he words, oh my lord! But first he summoned a meeting of the elders at the ships of Nestor, king of Pylos. And when they were assembled, he laid a cunning counsel before them. My friends, he said, I have had a dream from heaven in the dead of night, and its face and figure resemble none but Nestor's. It hovered over my head and said, You are sleeping, son of Atreus, one who has the welfare of his host, and so much other care upon his shoulders, should dock his sleep. Hear me at once, for I am messenger from Zeus, who, though he be not near, yet takes thought of you and pities you. He bids you get the Achaeans instantly under arms, for you shall take Troy. There are no longer divided counsels among the gods. Hera has brought them over to her own mind, and woe betides the Trojans at the hands of Zeus. Remember this. The dream then vanished, and I awoke. Let us now, therefore, arm the sons of the Achaeans, but it will be well that I should first sound them, and to this end I will tell them to fly with their ships, but do you others go about among the host and prevent their doing so? He then sat down, and Nestor, the king of Pylos, with all sincerity and goodwill, addressed them thus. My friends, he said, princes and counselors of the Argives, if any other man of Achaeans had told us that of this dream, we should have declared it false, and would have had nothing to do with it. But he who has seen it is the foremost man among us. We must therefore set about getting the people under arms. Oof, I need water. I hope you guys are understanding this. Because I'll be real honest. I'm just reading it, and it's going in one ear and out the other. Let's continue. With this he led the way from the assembly, and the other sceptred kings rose with him in obedience to the word of Agamemnon. But the people pressed forward to hear. They swarmed like bees that sally from some hollow cave and flit in countless throng among the spring flowers, bunched in knots and clusters. Even so did the mighty multitude pour from ships and tents to assembly and range themselves upon the wide-watered shore, while among them ran Wildfire, Rumor, messenger of Zeus, urging them ever to the fore. Thus they gathered in a pell-mell of mad confusion, and the earth groaned under the tramp of men as the people sought their places. 9 heralds went crying about among them to stay their tumult and bid them listen to the kings, till at last they were got into their several places and ceased their clamor. Then King Agamemnon rose, holding his scepter. This was the work of Hephaestus, who gave it to Zeus, the son of Cronos. Zeus gave it to Hermes, slayer of Argus, god and guardian. King Hermes gave it to Pelops, the mighty charioteer, and Pelops to Atreus, shepherd of his people. Atreus, when he died, left it to Thyestes, rich in flocks, and Thyestes in his return left it to be borne by Agamemnon, that he might be lord of all Argos and of the isles. Leaning then on his scepter, he addressed the Argives. My friends, he said, heroes, servants of Ares, the hand of heaven has been laid heavily upon me. Cruel Zeus gave me his solemn promise that I should sack the city of Priam before returning, but he has played me false, and is now bidding me go ingloriously back to Argos with the loss of much people. Such is the will of Zeus, who has laid many a proud city in the dust, as he will lay others, for his power is above all. It will be a sorry tale hereafter that an Achaean host, at once so great and valiant, battled in vain against men fewer in number than themselves. But as yet the end is not in sight. Think that the Achaeans and Trojans have sworn a solemn covenant, and that they have each been numbered. The Trojans by the roll of their households, and we by companies of 10. Think further that each of our companies desired to have a Trojan householder to pour out their wine. We are so greatly more in number that full many a company would have to go without its cupbearer. But they have in the town allies from other places, and it is these that hinder me from being able to sack the rich city of Ilium. 9 of Zeus's years are gone, The timbers of our ships have rotted. Their tackling is sound no longer. Our wives and little ones at home look anxiously for our coming. But the work that we came hither to do has not been done. Now, therefore, let us all do as I say. Let us sail back to our own land, for we shall not take Troy." With these words he moved the hearts of the multitude, so many of them as knew not the cunning counsel of Agamemnon. They surged to and fro like the waves of the Icarian Sea, when the east and south winds break from heaven's clouds to lash them, or as when the west wind sweeps over a field of corn, and the ears bow beneath the blast. Even so we sway, we blah 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 blah. It's okay. It's so okay. I'm gonna reread that sentence, because apparently I can't say the word were. I don't know. Goodness gracious. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Where is the words? There it is. Even so were they swayed as they flew with loud cries towards the ships, and the dust from under their feet rose heavenward. They cheered each other on to draw the ships into the sea. They cleared the channels in front of them. They began taking away the stays from underneath them, and the welkin rang with their glad cries. So eager were they to return. Then surely the Argives would have returned after a fashion that was not fated. But Hera said to Athen, oh my fuck. You know, guys, sometimes I think I'm just stupid. I'm not. But sometimes I read words, and whenever I say them out loud, they aren't said correctly, but I'm saying them the right way in my head. Or at least I know how to say the words, but for whatever reason, I'm just not reading them out loud in the correct manner. Because if you would like to know what that word is, that word would be Athena. But also no, it's not. Because now I'm looking at it again, and the letters actually got mixed up, and I was seeing letters that weren't there. Yep, that was not what that letter was. Oh my gosh. You know? I'm just going to sit here for a second and just take that in. Wow. I was really just adding letters to a word that just didn't exist. That's great. I swapped the letters out. Because that's not an A. That's an E. Why did I do that? Anyways, I don't know how to pronounce that. Give me a second. We're going to figure it out together. Because I now don't trust my brain to see that the correct way. Because apparently I'm dyslexic. Maybe. I don't actually know. I've never been tested. I should probably do that. One moment. Where's my cursor? There we go. Let's see. How do you pronounce that? And watch it be the easiest word to fucking pronounce. I'm gonna be so pissed. Okay. Athene. It's Athene. So I was swapping out. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's do this again, guys. Sorry. Then surely the Argives would have returned after a fashion that was not fated. But Hera said to Athene, "Alas, daughter of Aegis, bearing Zeus, unwearable shall the Argives fly home to their own land over the broad sea and leave Priam and the Trojans the glory of still keeping Helen. For whose sake so many of the Achaeans have died at Troy, far from their homes? Go about at once among the host, and speak fairly to them, man by man, that they draw not their ships into the sea. Athene was not slack to do her bidding. Down she darted from the topmost summits of Olympus, and in a moment she was at the ships of the Achaeans. There she found Odysseus. Okay, no, hold up. Now I'm really confused because I promise you, I took a picture of the word and used Google to make sure I didn't misplace the letters. It says Athene. But then wouldn't it be Athena? Are they just calling her Athene? Why? What? Wait. I'm so confused. Wait. This is the translation by Samuel Butler, by the way. I don't know. Oh my god, wait. I'm so confused, you guys. No. What? What is happening? Where's the character list? There's a character list in the front of this book. Okay. Anyways, there's a character list in this book, and I would like to see it. It's got like the major characters, and I feel like the gods would be some of the major characters. Let's see here. Okay, major characters of the Iliad. Yes. We know that. I just want to see her name. Can we see that, please? Because I'm really confused. Why is it Athene? Major deities. Awesome sauce. Okay. Zeus, Hera, Artemis, Apollo, Hades, Aphrodite, Ares, Athene. Okay, yeah. So they're calling her Athene in this translation. No, guys, I'm gonna have to substitute. Okay, yeah, I can't. Why would they do that? That's not. Is that how you pronounce her name? No, there's no way. There's no way we've all been mispronouncing it. It's gotta be Athena. There's no way she's pronounced Athene. No. Wait. Holy shit. No, oh my gosh, no. Where's my Google? Where's Google? Come here. Holy shit, no. Why is it Athene? What the hell? No. Is Athena pronounced Athene? Please tell me that I'm going to be so upset. Oh, okay. Okay. So, essentially, Athena is the standard modern English spelling and pronunciation, for Athena. And then Athene is an older poetic or alternative European spelling common in the Homeric Greek and some languages like German. Okay. Oh, that was so scary. It's not actually scary. I'm being dramatic. I'm just being dramatic. I'm gonna have to substitute. I don't know if I want to continue reading it as Athene or not. Because I just thought this was like some random girl, but then it said that she was running down from Olympus and that she sought out Odysseus. And I was like, what? No, that's not. Okay. My goodness. I'm gonna pause. I have to go reevaluate some stuff before I continue reading. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm back. Um, let's let's just continue reading. It'll be fine. I'm gonna start the sentence over though. There she found Odysseus, peer of Zeus in council, standing alone. He had not as yet laid a hand upon his ship, for he was grieved and sorry. So she went close up to him and said, Odysseus, noble son of Laertes? Sure. Are you going to fling yourselves into your ship and be off home? Sorry. I lost where I was on the page. I'll restart. I'm sorry. Are you going to fling yourselves into your ships and be off home to your own land in this way? Will you leave Priam and the Trojans the glory of still keeping Helen? For whose sake is so many of the Achaeans have died at Troy, far from their home? Go about at once among the host, and speak fairly to them, man by man, that they draw not their ships into the sea. Odysseus knew the voice as that of the goddess. He flung his cloak from him and set off to run. His servant Eurybates, a man of Ithaca, who waited on him, took charge of the cloak, whereon Odysseus went straight up to Agamemnon and received from him his ancestral imperishable staff. With this he went about among the ships of the Achaeans. Whenever he met a king or chieftain, he stood by him and spoke him fairly. Sir, he said, this flight is cowardly and unworthy. Stand to your post and bid your people also keep their places. You do not yet know the full mind of Agamemnon. He was sounding us, and ere long will visit the Achaeans with his displeasure. We were not all of us at the council to hear what he then said. See to it lest he be angry and do as a mischief, for the pride of kings is great, and the hand of Zeus is with them. But when he came across any common man who was making a noise, he struck him with his staff and rebuked him, saying, Sirrah, hold your peace and listen to better men than yourself. You are a coward and no soldier. You are nobody either in fight or council. We cannot all be kings. It is not well that there should be many masters. One man must be supreme, one king to whom the son of scheming Kronos has given the scepter of sovereignty over you all. Thus masterfully did he go about amongst the host, and the people hurried back to the council from their tents and ships, with a sound as the thunder of surf when it comes crashing down upon the shore, and all the sea is in an uproar. The rest now took their seats and kept their own several places, but their sights still went on wagging his unbridled tongue, a man of many words, and those unseemly, a monger of sedition. Sorry. A railer against all who were in authority, who cared not what he said, so that he might set the Achaeans in a laugh. He was the ugliest man of all that came before Troy, bandy-legged, lame of one foot, with his two shoulders rounded and hunched over his chest. His head ran up to a point, but there was little hair on the top of it. Achilles and Odysseus hated him worst of all, for it was with them that he was most wont to wrangle. Now, however, with a shrill, squeaky voice, he began heaping his abuse on Agamemnon. The Achaeans were angry and disgusted, yet none the less he kept on brawling at the son of Atreus. Agamemnon, he cried, what ails you now, and what more do you want? Your tents are filled with bronze, with fair women, for whenever we take a town, we give you the pick of them. Would you have yet more gold, which some Trojan is to give you as a ransom for his son, when I or another Achaean has taken him prisoner? Or is it some young girl to hide and lie with? It is not well that you, the ruler of the Achaeans, should bring them into such misery. Weakling cowards, women rather than men. Let us sail home, and leave this fellow here at Troy to stew in his own deeds. His own meeds of honor, and discover whatever we were of any service to him or no. Achilles is a much better man than he is, and see how he treated him, robbing him of his prize and keeping it to himself. Achilles takes it meekly and shows no fight. If he did, son of Atreus, you would never again insult him. Thus railed Thersites. But Odysseus at once went up to him and rebuked him sternly. Check your glib tongue, Thersites, said he, and babble not a further word. Chide not with princes when you have none to back you. There is no viler creature from before Troy with the sons of Atreus. Drop this chatter about kings, and neither revile them nor keep harping about going home. We do not yet know how things are going to be, nor whether the Achaeans are to return with good success or evil. How dare you gibe at Agamemnon because the Danaans have awarded him so many prizes? I tell you, therefore, and it shall surely be, that if I again catch you talking such nonsense, I will either forfeit my own head and be no more called father of Telemachus, or I will take you, strip you stark naked, and whip you out of the assembly till you go blubbering back to the ships. On this he beat him with his staff about the back and shoulders, till he dropped and fell a-weeping. The golden scepter raised a bloody weal on his back. So he sat down frightened and in pain, looking foolish as he wiped the tears from his eyes. The people were sorry for him, yet they laughed heartily, and one would turn to his neighbor, saying, Odysseus has done many a good thing ere now in fight and counsel. But he never did the Argives a better turn than when he stopped this fellow's mouth from parting further. He will give the king no more of his insolence. Thus said the people. Then Odysseus rose, scepter in hand, and Athena, in the likeness of a herald, bade the people be still, that those who were far off might hear him and consider his counsel. He therefore, with all sincerity and goodwill, addressed them thus. King Agamemnon, the Achaeans are for making you a byword among all mankind. They forgot the promise they made you when they set out from Argos, that you should not return till you had sacked the town of Troy, and like children or widowed women, they murmur and would set off homeward. True it is that they have had toil enough to be disheartened. A man chafes at having to stay away from his wife even for a single month, when he is on shipboard, at the mercy of wind and sea. But it is now 9 long years that we have been kept here. I cannot, therefore, blame the Achaeans if they turn restive. Still, we shall be shamed if we go home empty after so long a stay. Therefore, my friends, be patient yet a little longer, that we may learn whether the prophecy. My mouth is not cooperating. Let's try again. Where was I? There it is. We may learn whether the prophecies of Calchas were false or true. All who have not since perished must remember, as though it were yesterday or the day before, how the ships of the Achaeans were detained in Aulis when we were on our way hither to make war on Priam and the Trojans, we were ranged around about a fountain offering hecatombs, to the gods upon their holy altars. And there was a fine plane tree from beneath which there welled a stream of pure water. Then we saw a prodigy, for Zeus sent a fearful serpent out of the ground, with blood-red stains upon its back, and it darted from under the altar on the plane tree. Now there was a brood of young sparrows, quiet, small, upon the topmost bough, peeping out from under the leaves, 8 in all, and their mother had hatched them, made 9. The serpent at the poor cheeping things, while the old bird flew about lamenting her little ones. But the serpent threw his coils about her, and caught her by the wing, as she was screaming. Then when he had eaten both the sparrow and her young, the god who had sent him made him become a sign, for the son of scheming Cronos turned him into stone. And we stood there wondering at that which had come to pass, seeing then that such a fearful portent had become. Sorry, I'm reading things wrong. I'm tired. I lost my place. Okay, there we go. That such a fearful portent had been broken in upon our hecatombs, Calchas forthwith declared to us the oracles of heaven. Why, Achaeans, said he, are you thus speechless? Zeus has sent us this sign, long in coming, and long ere to be fulfilled, though its fame shall last forever, as the serpent ate the 8 fledglings and the sparrow that hatched them, which makes 9. So shall we fight 9 years at Troy, but on the 10th shall take the town. This was what he said, and now it is all coming true. Stay here, therefore, all of you, till we take the city of Priam. On this the Argives raised a shout, till the ships rang again with the uproar. Nestor, knight of Gyrene, then addressed them. Shame on you, he cried, to stay talking here like children, when you should fight like men. Where are our covenants now, and where are the oaths that we have taken? Shall our counsels be flung into the fire, with our drink offerings and the right hands of our fellowship wherein we put our trust? We waste our time in words, and for all our talking, here shall be no further forward. Stood therefore, son of Atreus, by your own steadfast purpose, lead the Argives on to battle, and leave this handful of men to rot, who scheme in vain, to get back to Argos ere they have learned whether Zeus be true or liar. For the mighty son of Cronos surely promised that we should succeed, when we Argives set sail to bring death and destruction upon the Trojans. He showed us favorable signs by flashing his lightning on our right hands. Therefore let none make haste to go till he has first lain with the wife of some Trojan, and avenge the toil and sorrow that he has suffered for the sake of Helen. Nevertheless, if any man is in such haste to be at home again, let him lay his hand to his ship, that he may meet his doom in the sight of all. But, O king, consider and give ear to my counsel, for the word that I say may not be neglected lightly. Divide your men, Agamemnon, into their several tribes and clans, that clans and tribes may stand by and help one another. If you do this, and if the Achaeans obey you, you will find out who, both chiefs and people, are brave and who are cowards, for they will for they will vie against the other. Thus you shall also learn whether it is through the counsel of heaven or the cowardice of men that you shall fail to take the town. And Agamemnon answered, Nestor, you have again outdone the sons of the Achaeans in counsel. Would by Father Zeus, Athena, and Apollo, that I had among them 10 more such counselors, for the city of King Priam would then soon fall beneath our hands, and we should sack it. But the son of Cronos afflicts me with bootless wranglings and strife. Achilles and I are quarreling about this girl, in which matter I was the first to offend. If we can be one of mind again, the Trojans will not stave off destruction for a day. Now therefore get your morning meal, that our hosts join in fight. Whet well your spears, as well to the ordering of your shields. Give good feeds to your horses, and look your chariots carefully over, that we may do battle the livelong day. For we shall have no rest, not for a moment, till night falls to part us. The bands that bear your shields shall be wet with the sweat upon your shoulders. Your hands shall weary upon your spears. Your horses shall steam in front of your chariots. And if I see any man shirking the fight, or trying to keep out of it at the ships, there shall be no help for him, but he shall be a prey to dogs and vultures. Thus he spoke, and the Achaeans roared applause, as when the waves run high before the blast of the south wind and break on some lofty headland, dashing against it and buffeting it without ceasing as the storms from every quarter drive them. Even so did the Achaeans rise and hurry in all directions to their ships. There they lighted their fires at their tents, and got dinner, offering sacrifice every man to one or other of the gods, and praying each one of them that he might live to come out of the fight. Agamemnon, king of men, sacrificed a fat 5-year-old bull to the mighty son of Cronos, and invited the princes and elders of his host. First he asked Nestor, king of Idumeans, I think it's how you pronounce it, and I don't have my computer right now to look it up. Then the 2 Ajaxes and the son of Tydeus, and sixthly Odysseus, peer of gods in council. But Menelaus came of his own accord, for he knew how busy his brother was then. They stood round the bull with the barley meal in their hands, and Agamemnon prayed, saying, Zeus, most glorious, supreme, that dwellest in heaven, and ridest upon the storm cloud, grant that the sun may not go down, nor the night fall, till the palace of Priam is laid low, and its gates are consumed with fire. Grant that my sword may pierce the shirt of Hector about his heart, and that full many of his comrades may bite the dust as they fall dying around him. Thus he prayed, but the son of Cronos would not fulfill his prayer. He accepted the sacrifice, yet none the less increased their toil continually. When they had done praying and sprinkling the barley meal upon the victim, they drew back its head, killing it, and then flayed it. They cut out the thigh bones, wrapped them round in 2 layers of fat, and set pieces of raw meat on top of them. These they burned upon the split logs of firewood, but they spitted the inward meats and held them in the flames to cook. Then the thigh bones were burned, and they had tasted the inward meats. They cut the rest up small, put the pieces upon spits, roasted them till they were done, and drew them off. Then when they had finished their work and the feast was ready, they ate it. And every man had his full share, so that all were satisfied. As soon as they had had enough to eat and drink, Nestor, knight of Gerene, began to speak. King Agamemnon, said he, let us not stay talking here, nor by slack in the work that heaven has put into our hands. Let the heralds summon the people to gather at their several ships. He may then go about among the host, that we may begin fighting at once. Thus did he speak, and Agamemnon heeded his words. He at once set the criers round to call the people in assembly. So they called them, and the people gathered thereon. The chiefs about the son of Atreus chose their men and marshalled them, while Athena went among them holding her priceless aegis, this that knows neither age nor death. From it there waved 100 tassels of pure gold, all deftly woven, and each one of them worth 100 oxen. With this she darted furiously everywhere among the host of the Achaeans, urging them forward and putting courage into the heart of each, so that he might fight and do battle without ceasing. Thus war became sweeter in their eyes, even then returning home in their ships, as when some great forest fire is raging upon a mountain's top, and its light is seen afar. Even so, as they marched, and the gleam of their armor flashed up into the firmament of heaven. They were like great flocks of geese or cranes or swans on the plain about the waters of Castor, that winged their way hither and thither, glorifying in the pride of fight, and crying as they settle till the fen is alive with their screaming. Even thus did their tribe pour from ships and tents on to the plain of the Scamander, and the ground rang as bass under the feet of men and horses. They stood as thick upon the flower-bespangled field as leaves that bloom in summer, as countless swarms of flies buzz around a herdsman. As countless swarm of flies buzz around a herdsman's homestead in the time of spring, when the pails are drenched with milk, even so did the Achaeans swarm on to the plain to charge the Trojans and destroy them. The chiefs disposed their men this way and that before the fight began, drafting them out as easily as goat herds draft their flocks when they have got mixed while feeding. And among them went King Agamemnon, with a herd and face like Zeus, the lord of thunder, a waist like Ares, and a chest like that of Poseidon, as some great bull that lords it over the herds upon the plain. Even so did Zeus make the son of Atreus stand peerless among the multitudes of heroes. And now, O Muses, dwellers in the mansions of Olympus, tell me, for you are goddesses, and are in all places, so that you see all things, while we know nothing but by report. Who were the chiefs and princes of the Danaans? As for the common soldiers, they were so that I could not name every single one of them, though I had 10 tongues. And though my voice failed not, and my heart were of bronze within me, unless you, O Olympian Muses, daughters of Aegis-bearing Zeus, were to recount them to me, nevertheless I will tell the captains of the ships, and all the fleet together. Peneleus, Latus, Arses, it's a bunch of names. I'm not surprised. I really need Google right now. It is what it is. We're going to do our best. Peneleus, Laetus, Arcesilaus, Hang on. We're gonna figure this out. Because this is... I'm not sure. Okay, I think I got it. So it's Peneleos. That still doesn't sound right. Laid his... No, I already forgot. Hang on, I already forgot. Oh no. I had it in my brain. Promise. Arcesilaus and Prothoenor. That's how you pronounce them. And Clonius were captains of the Boeotians. These were they that dwelt in Hyria and rocky Aulis, and who held Schonas, Scolas, and the highlands of Eteonus with Thespia, Graia. I'm really just butchering all these names. Wow. Okay, one moment. I gotta figure this out. It's not fair to the language or the story if I can't pronounce their words. Let's do that one. Okay, so it's not Hyria, it's Hyria. And then we need... Oh. Of course, because that makes sense. Okay. So it's... Would it just... So it's Skinus. That's how you pronounce that. And then... So Skinus, Scolas, and the highlands of... One moment while I figure out how to pronounce that place. Oh no, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Eteonus. Oh, I pronounced it right. Yay. It is Eteonus. And then Thespia. Great. Okay. So Scolas and the highlands of Eteonus with Thespia, Graia, and the fair city of Mycalesus. They also held Harma, Elysium, and Erythrae, and they had Ilion, Hyle, and Petion, Achalia, and the strong fortress of Medion, Cope, Eutresis, and Thisbe, the haunt of doves, Coronia, and the pastures of Haliartus, Platia, and Glissus, the fortress of Thebes, the less holy on... Wow. This is tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. It also might be because I'm a little sleep deprived that I'm struggling so much. It is what it is. I've lost my place again. I need to go to sleep. But we shall prevail. We will finish this reading before I am allowed to sleep. Where was I? No, here it is. Holy Incestus, with its famous grove of Poseidon, Arn, rich in vineyards, Medea, sacred Nyssa, and Anthedon upon the sea. From these there came 50 ships, and in each there were 120 young men of the Boeotians. Escalaphus. Really more? Okay. I don't know why I asked if there was more. It's a whole book. Where did you think it just no names? Did you think that was what was going to happen? No. We have characters. Deal with it. It's from an ancient time. Learn to say their names correctly. I'm not saying them correctly. I really think I'm just butchering all of their names. I will improve over time. It is what it is. Holy shit. It is. It's okay. It's fine. We're just gonna get through book 2 and be done with it. Sons of Ares led the people that dwelt in Asplidon and Orchomenus, the realm of Menus. Oh my goodness. Going back to Google, guys. I'm too tired to be able to, assess what these words are saying. It's really upsetting. Really, it is. I feel like I should just know how to pronounce these off the bat. I shouldn't. They're from ancient times, but still. Why does it sound like that? That doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess it does for you. Whatever. It is what it is. It's pissing me off. Whatever. It's called a styoche. Yeah, because I actually know, now that I'm looking at the word and my brain fog is just clearing up a little bit, that does kind of make sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just being judgy because I'm tired. That makes sense. For sure. No. I almost spilled my drink everywhere. Okay. Let's move that. Astyoche, a noble maiden, bore them in the house of Actor, son of Asius. For she had gone with Ares secretly into an upper chamber, and he had laid with her. With these there came 30 ships. The Phocians were led by Schedius? Sure. And Epistrophus, son of mighty Ephesus, the son of Nobilis. These were they that held Cyprus's rocky Pytho, holy Chrysodalis, and Panopius. They also that dwelt in Anemoria and Hyampolis, and about the waters of the river Cephissus, and Lelea. Why did I say it like that? Why did I say it kind of musically? We're not gonna question it. We're just gonna go with it. It's fine. It's fine. Also, I don't know if you guys have the physical book with you and you're following along or not, but we're on page 38. The book ends. Yeah, so page 45, is the last page of book 2. I'm so excited for that page, you guys. I'm so excited for it. I'm ready to go to sleep. I will be better about the next one that I read, but I'm so tired. I need to stop harping on it. We're all tired. I'm just being a loser. It's okay. Back to the book, which is the whole reason we're here. By the springs of the I do it every time. By the springs of the Cephisus, with their chieftains come 40 ships, and they marshaled the forces of the Phocians, which were stationed next to the Boeotians on their left. Ajax, the fleet son of Oileus, commanded the Locrians. He was not so great, nor nearly so great as Ajax the son of Telamon. He was a little excelled... No, I skipped a whole fucking line. Back up. He was a little man, and his breastplate was made of linen. But in use of the spear he excelled all the Hellenes and Achaeans. These dwelt in Sinus, Opius, Calliaris, Bessa, Scarphe, Fair Auge, sure, Tarphi, and Thronium, about the river Bogrius, sure. With him there came 40 ships of the Locrians, who dwell beyond Euboea. I think I already looked up how to pronounce that. Did I? No. Okay. The fierce Abantes held Euboea with its cities Chalcis, Eretria, Histiaea, rich in veins, Cerinthus upon the sea, and the rock-perched town of Dium. With them were also the men of Charistus in Styra. Elphenor of the race of the Ares was in command of these. He was son of Chalcedon. I know that is not how you pronounce that name. Good Lord. This is like... I'm just making a life out of butchering names. That's just what it is now. I'm just gonna tear them apart. And it is what it is. We can learn them later. Because at this point, I don't know if there's any saving it. Ridiculous. Let's just go back. It's whatever. And chief over all the Abantes. With him they came, fleet of foot and wearing their hair long behind brave warriors, who would ever strive to tear open the corselets of their foes with their long ashen spears. Of these there came 50 ships, and they had held the strong city of Athens. The people of great Erechtheus, who was born of the soil itself, but Zeus's daughter Athena fostered him and established him at Athens in her own rich sanctuary. There, year by year, the Athenian youth worships him with sacrifices of bulls and rams. These were commanded by Menestheus. Menestheus, son of Peteos. No man living could equal him in the marshalling of charioteers and foot soldiers. Nestor could alone rival him, for he was older. With him there came 50 ships. Ajax brought 12 ships from Salamis, and stationed them alongside those the Athenians. The men of Argos again, and those who held the walls of Tyrans, with Hermione and Asyne, upon the Gulf. Trozene, Ione, and the vineyard lands, the Epidaurus, the Achaean youths, moreover, who came from Aegina and Masses. These were led by Diomede. Pick and choose, I guess. Diomede, of the loud battle cry, and Sthenelaus. Sthenelus, son of famed Capaneus. With them in command was Euryalus, son of King Mecistius, son of Talaeus. But Diomede was chief over them all. With these there came 80 ships. Those who held the strong city of Mycenae, rich Corinth and Cleone, Orne, Erythrae, and Sicyon, where Adrastus reigned, of old Hypericea, High Gonesa, and Pellene, Aegium, and all the coast land round about Hellas. There sent 100 ships under the command of King Agamemnon, son of Atreus. His force was far both finest and most numerous, and in their midst was the king himself, all glorious in his armor of gleaming bronze, foremost among the heroes, for he was the greatest king and had most men under him. And those that dwelt in Lacedaemon, lying low among the hills, Pharis, Sparta, and Messi, the haunt of doves, Brysae, Auge, Amyclae, and Helos upon the sea, Laius, moreover, and Otilis. These were led by Menelaus, of the loud battle cry, brother of the Agamemnon. And of them there were 60 ships drawn up apart from the others. Among them went Menelaus himself, strong in zeal, urging his men to fight, for he longed to avenge the toil and sorrow that he had suffered for the sake of Helen. And the men of Pylos and Arene and Thryum, where is the fond of the river Alpheus, strong Api, Cyparisses, and Iphigenia, Telium, Helos, and Dorium, where the Muses met Thamyris, and stilled his minstrelsy forever. He was returning from Oechalia, where Eurytus lived and reigned forever. No. Eurytus lived, reigned, and boasted that he would surpass even the Muses, daughters of Aegis-bearing Zeus, if they should sing against him, whereon they were angry, and maimed him. They robbed him of his divine power of song. and henceforth he could strike the lyre no more. They were commanded by Nestor, knight of Gyrene, and with him there came 90 ships, and those that held Arcadia under the high mountain of Cyllene, near the tomb of Apitus, where the people fight hard to hand to hand. Oh my gosh. Maybe one of these days I'll just be able to read the words on the page and not create new words in my head that I think are the words that are on the page, but they're really not. They're actually a whole different set of words. Whatever. Where was I? Hand to hand. The men of Phineas, also the Orchomenus, rich in flocks of Rhipae, Strati, and bleak Anisbe of Tegea, and fair Mentanea of Stymphelus, and Parahasi. That is not how you say that. Holy shit. Parhasia. Yeah. Parhasia of these King Agapenor, son of Anchias, was commander, and they had 60 ships. Many Arcadians, good soldiers, came in each one of them. But Agamemnon found them the ships in which crossed the sea, for they were not people that occupied their business upon the waters. The men, moreover, of Buprasium and of Elis, so much of it as is enclosed between Hyrmine, Myricinus, upon the seahorse, the rock Olene, and Elysium. These had 4 leaders, and each of them had 10 ships, with many Epeons on board. Their captains were Amphimachus, Salpius, the one son of Titus, and the other of Eurytus, both of the race of Actor. The 2 others were Diorus, son of Amarances, and Pylexenus, son of King Acasthenes, son of Augeas, and those of Dulichium, with the sacred Iconian islands, who dwelt beyond the sea of Elis. They were led by Meges, peer of Ares, and the son of valiant Phyleus, dear to Zeus, who quarrelled with his father and went to settle in Dulichium. With him there came 40 ships. Odysseus led the brave Cephallenians, who held Ithaca, Neretium, with its forest, oh my god. What does that even mean? Google, tell me what this word is. I'm struggling, Google. I need help. I'm desperate at this point. What even is? It's probably going to be so simple to say, too. They always are, for the most part. Ish. Where was that word? See, it's so easy, and I just butchered it for no reason. Whatever. Also, sorry I'm so sniffly. I'm pretty sure I'm like coming down with a cold. It's unfortunate. It really is. Okay. Where was it? Odysseus led the brave Stephanians, who held Ithaca, Neritum with its forests, Croclea, rugged Aegyptus, Samos, and Zacynthus, with the mainland also that was over against the islands. These were led by Odysseus, peer of Zeus in council, and with him there came 12 ships. Thoas, son of Andromon, commanded the Aetolians, who dwelt in Pleuron. Olenus, Pylene, Chalcis, by the sea, and rocky Calydon, for the great king Oeneus had now no sons living, and was himself dead, as was also golden-haired Meleager, who had been set over the Aetolians to be their king. And with Thoas there came 40 ships. The famous spearsman Idomeneus led the Cretans, who held Knossos and the well-walled city of Gortys Lyctus, also Miletus and Lycastris, that lies upon the chalk, and populous towns of Phaestus and Rhydium, with the other people that dwelt in the 100 cities of Crete. Yeah. All these were led by Idomeneus and by Meriones, peer of murderous Ares, and with these there came 80 ships. Lepolemus, son of Heracles, a man both brave and large by stature, brought 9 ships of lordly warriors from Rhodes. These dwelt in Rhodes, which is divided among the 3 cities, Lindus, Ilissus, and Carmeris, that lies upon the chalk. They were commanded by Lepolemus, son of Heracles, Astyochea, whom he had carried off from Ephyria on the river Celice. Sure. After sacking many cities of valiant warriors, then Lepolemus grew up. He killed his father's uncle, Lycomenes. Yeah, because nothing says I love you like murder. Let's just kill off everybody while we're at it. Just, dead. Bang. Gone. Get rid of all the obstacles. Good job, guys. Great going. Who had been a famous warrior in his time, but was then grown old. On this he built himself a fleet, gathered a great following, and fled beyond the sea, for he was menaced by the other sons and grandsons of Heracles. After a voyage during which he suffered great hardship, he came to Rhodes, where the people divided into 3 communities according to their tribes, and were dearly loved by Zeus, the Lord of gods and men. Therefore the son of Cronos showered down great riches upon them. And Nereus brought 3 ships from Cyme. Nereus, who was the handsomest man that came up under Ilium of all Danaans after the son of Peleus, but he was a man of no substance and had but a small following. And those that held Niceris, Crapathus, and Cassus with Cos, the city of Eurypylus, and Caledonian islands. These were commanded by Pheidipus and Antiphus, 2 sons of King Thessalus, the son of Heracles, and with them there came 30 ships. Those again who led Pelesgic, Argos, Alos, and Trachis, and those of Phthia and Hellas, the land of fair women, who were called Myrmidons, Hellenes, and Achaeans. These had 50 ships. Over each Achilles was in command. But they now took no part in the war, inasmuch as there was no one to marshal them. For Achilles stayed by his ships, furious about the loss of the girl Briseis. No, you're adding letters again. Briseis, whom he had taken from Lyrnessus, at his own great peril. When he had sacked Lyrnessus and Thebe, had overgrown Mines and Epistarchus, sons of King Evenor, son of Seleucus. For her sake Achilles was still grieving, but ere long he was gone again to join them. And those that held Phylace, and the flowery meadows of Piraeus, sanctuary of Demeter, Idon and mother of sheep, Antrim upon the sea, sanctuary of Demeter, Idon, the mother of sheep. Oh, I already read that. I'm rereading a sentence. That's my bad. I'm surprised it didn't happen before now. Or did it? Did that already happen? Whatever. Upon the sea, the Telium that lies upon the grasslands of these brave Protesiles had been captain while he was yet alive, but he was now lying under the earth. He had left a wife behind him in Phylace to tear her cheeks in sorrow, and his house was only half finished, for he was slain by Dardanian warrior while leaping foremost of the Achaeans upon the soil of Troy. Still, though his people mourned their chieftain, they were not without a leader, for Podarchus, no. What the fuck? Hang on. I can't figure that one out either. We're gonna see what we can do. Fuck, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Podarces of the race of Ares marshaled them. He was son of Iphiclus, rich in sheep, who was the son of Phylacus, and he was own brother to Protesilaus, only younger, Protesilaus being at once the elder and the more valiant. So the people were not without a leader, though they mourned him, whom they had lost. With him there came 40 ships, and those that held Pherae by the Boeotian lake with Bobe, Glaphyrae, and the populous city of Iolcus. These with their 11 ships were led by Eumelus, son of Adamantus, whom Alcestis bore to him, loveliest of the daughters of Peleus. And those that held Methone and Thamachia with Melobia and rugged Olizon, these were led by the skillful archer Philocrates, and they had 7 ships, each with 50 oarsmen, all of them good archers. But Philoctetes was lying in great pain in the island of Limnos, where the sons of Achaeans left him, for he had been bitten by a poisonous water snake. There he lay, sick and sorry. Full soon did the Argives come to miss him, but his people, though they felt his loss, were not leaderless. For Maiden, the bastard son of Oileus, by Rhene, set them in array. Those again of Trica and the stony region of Ithome, and they that held Ocelia, and the city of Ocean Eurydice. These were commanded by the 2 sons of Asclepius, skilled in the art of healing, Podalirius and Machaon. And with them there came 30 ships, the men moreover of Ormenius, and by the fountain of Hyperia, with these that held Asterius and the white crest of Titanus. These were led by Eurypylus, I think. Hang on. Yeah, Eurypylus, the son of Eumen, and with them there came 40 ships, those that held Argissa and Eurytone, Elone, and the white city of Ulusun. Of these brave Polypoetes was leader. He was son of I did not read that like a name. I read that like just a title. I thought that was just a title, but that's a name. I'm going to read it again. Of these brave Polypoetes was leader. He was son of Parathosius. No, we're adding letters again. That's fun. Pirithous, who was son of Zeus himself, for hypodemia bore him. That kind of sounds like hypothermia. That's his name now. Bore him to Pirithous on the day when he took his revenge on the shaggy mountain savages and drove them from Mount Pelion to the Aethys. But Polypoetes was not sole in command, for with him was Leontius of the race of Ares, who was son of Coronis. What is this, a beer? That does not sound right. That just sounds like Corona, like the beer. It's Coronus. Coronas. It does sound like I'm saying the beer. It is what it is. We're going to deal with it. The son of Caneus, and with these there came 40 ships. Gunnius brought 22 ships from Cyphus, and he was followed by the Inians and the valiant Parabi, who dwelt about wintry Dodona, and held the lands round the lovely river Titaresius, which sends its waters into the Peneus. They do not mingle with the silvered eddies of the Peneus, but flow on the top of them like oil. For the Titaresius is a branch of dread Orcus and the river Styx, of the Magnetes, and Protheus, son of Tenthredon, was commander. They were they that dealt about the river Peneus and Mount Pelion. Protheus, fleet of foot, was their leader, and with him there came 40 ships. Such were the chiefs and princes of the Danaans, who then O Muse was the foremost, whether man or horse, among those followed after the sons of Atreus. Of the horses, those of the son of Pheres were by far the finest. They were driven by Eumelus, and were as fleet as birds. They were of the same age and color, and perfectly matched in height. Apollo of the silver bow had bred them in Perea, both of them mares, and terrible as Ares in battle. Of the men, Ajax son of Telamon was much of the foremost, so long as Achilles' anger lasted, for Achilles excelled him greatly, and he had also his quarrel with Agamemnon, and his people passed their time upon the seahorse, throwing discs or aiming with spears at a mark. And in archery their horses stood each by his own chariot, champions Lotus and wild celery. The chariots were housed under cover, but their owners, for lack of leadership, wandered hither and thither about the host, and went not forth to fight. Thus marched the host like a consuming fire, and the earth groaned beneath them when the Lord of Thunder is angry and lashes the land about Typhoeus. Among the Arami, there Typhoeus lies, even so did the earth groan beneath them as they sped over the plain. And now Iris, fleet as the wind, was sent by Zeus to tell the bad news among the Trojans. They were gathered in assembly, old and young, at Priam's gates, and Iris came close up to Priam, speaking with the voice of Priam's son, Polites, who, being fleet of foot, was stationed as a watchman for the Trojans on the tomb of old Asietes, to look out for any sally of the Achaeans. In his likeness Iris spoke, saying, "Old man, you talk idly, as in time of peace, while war is at hand. I have been in many a battle, but never yet saw such a host as is now advancing. They are crossing the plain to attack the city, as thick as leaves or as the sands of the sea. Hector, I charge you above all others, do as I say. There are many allies dispersed about the city of Priam, from distant places, and speaking diverse tongues. Therefore let each chief give orders to his own people, setting them severely in array, and leading them forth to battle." Thus she spoke. But Hector knew that it was the goddess and at once broke up the assembly. The men flew to arms, all the gates were opened, all the people thronged through them, horse and foot, with the tramp as of a great multitude. Now there is a high mound before the city, rising by itself upon the plain. Men call it Batia, but the gods the gods know that it is the tomb of the Lithy-Myrene. Here the Trojans and their allies divided their forces. Priam's son, great Hector of the gleaming helmet, commanded the Trojans, and with him were arrayed by far the greater number and most valiant of those who were longing for the fray. The Dardanians were led by brave Aeneas, whom Aphrodite bore to Anchises, when she, goddess though she was, had lain with him upon the mountain slopes of Ida. He was not alone, for with him were the two sons of Antenor, Archilochus and Echimus, both skilled in all the arts of war. They that dwelt in Talia, under the lower spurs of Mount Ida, men of substance who drink the limpid waters of the Aesepus, and are the Trojan blood. These were led by Pandarus, son of there was just thunder outside because it's starting to rain, and I'm not gonna lie, it startled me a little bit. Oof. I was too engrossed in the words to even register that it was raining outside. Anyways, we're almost done, guys. Pandarus, son of Lycaon, whom Apollo had taught to use the bow. They that held Adrestia and the land of Apasus with Pityeia, and the high mountain of Tereia. These were led by Adrestus and Amphius, whose breastplate was of linen. There were the sons of Merope and Percote, who excelled in all kinds of divination. He told them not to take part in the war, but they gave him no heed, for fate lured them to destruction. They had dwelt about Percote and Practius, with Sestos, Abydos, and Arisbe. These were led by Asius, son of Hyrtasus, a brave commander. Asius, the son of Hyrtaeus, whom his powerful dark bay steeds of the breed that comes from the river Celius had brought from Arisbe. Hypotheus led the tribes of Pelasgian spearsmen who dwelt in fertile Larissa. Hypotheus and Pyleus of the race of Ares, two sons of the Pelasgian Lethus, son of Teotimus, Acamus, and the warrior Pyrrhus, commanded the Thracians and those that came from beyond the mighty stream of the Hellespont. Euphemus, son of Trozinus, the son of Ceos, was captain of the Siconian spearsmen. Pyrocemius led the Paeonian archers from distant Amydon by the broad waters of the river Axius, the fairest that flow upon the earth. The Paphlagonians were commanded by stout-hearted Pylomenes from Enate, where the mules run wild in herds. These were they that held Cytorus in the country round Sesamus, with the cities by the river Panthenios, Cromne, Aegialus, and lofty Erythine, Odius and Epistrophus were captain over the Halizoni. From distant Alibi, where there are mines of silver. Chromis and Enomus the augur led the Mysians, but his skill in augury availed not to save him from destruction. Also, guys, for those of you who don't know what augury is, and I don't know everything about augury, obviously, but it is a form of divination using, I believe, bird flight patterns, or that might be the other one, and this one might be the reading of entrails. Like, you cut open the belly of an animal and you read the guts or whatever. That's what that is. For he fell by the hand of the fleet descendant of Aeacus in the river, where he slew others also of the Trojans. Forces again and noble Ascanius led the Phrygians from the far country of Ascania, and both were eager for the fray. Mestlus and Antiphus commanded the Meonians, sons of Telemines, born to him of the Gygaean lake. These led the Meonians, who dwelt under Mount Tmolus. Nastes led the Carians, men of strange speech. These held Miletus and the wooded mountain of Phytheres, with the water of the river Meander, and the lofty crest of Mount Michael. These were commanded by Nastes, and Amphimachus, the brave sons of Nomion. He came into the fight with gold about him, like a girl, full